Okay, so today we're going to be working on page 61 of your book. This is two-step inequalities, and this is what your assignment looks like. Since there's only 8 problems, I wanted to do some extra examples with you. So I'm going to go towards this page, which you don't have in your book. And we are going to do some examples together from this one. So let's look at number 13. Number 13, I'm trying to get this v by itself, the variable. And again, you solve inequalities just like you solve equations. There's just that one little difference when you multiply or divide by a negative. So here we're trying to get the v by itself, so we look at what's happening with our extra piece. The extra piece is getting subtracted from our v because of this minus sign. So in order to get it to the other side of our inequality, we have to do the opposite. So that means that we're going to add 23 to each side. Now we have 8v is greater than 6, 7, 88. Okay, so now we need to get our v by itself. Since my 8 and my v are right next to each other, it means that they're getting multiplied. The opposite of multiply is divide. What I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other side of the equation. My 8's cancel on the left, leaving just my v. My sign comes down. 88 divided by 8 is 11. Then the next thing that you need to do is you need to make sure you're graphing your solution. And a graphing is just this cute little number line. All you have to do is make a little line with 2 arrows on each side like I did, and then put the number that's important underneath it. Notice there's no line underneath my symbol, so I'm going to have an open dot. I'm talking about all the numbers that are greater than 11 because my alligator is eating my v, so bigger than 11 would be to the right. And this is my shaded portion, which is my answer. Let's look at, oh, I like this one, number 19. Okay, so here we're trying to get our b by itself, and again, we're solving this just like we do regular problems that have equal signs in between. But these are inequalities, so there's one little difference, and we're actually going to talk about it in this one. So we're trying to get this 4b by itself, and notice this negative here, it is actually attached to my 4b, so this says negative 4b. This symbol in front of the 5 to the left of it, you can't see it because it's invisible, but there's a plus sign there. So we need to start by moving that guy to be with the 12. They are like terms since they're both just regular numbers, so they need to be together. The opposite of positive 5 is minus 5 on each side. Again, this cute little negative is attached to that 4b, so please do not move it with your 5. 12 minus 5 is 7, is greater than or equal to negative 4b. Maybe it's not. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Yeah, it is. Oh, we have a decimal. Okay. Sorry, freaked me out for a second there. Okay, then I have to get my b by itself. So the opposite of multiply is divide. So what I do to one side, I need to do to the other. I need to divide by my negative 4 because it's getting multiplied by my b. So my negative 4's are going to cancel. Notice here, on each side of my equation, I divided by a negative 4. What that means is this symbol is going to be now going the opposite direction. If you do not flip your symbol, then it is incorrect. So I'm dividing each side by a negative, which means that we need to flip our symbol. I have 7 divided by negative 4, which is equal to negative 1.75. Okay, so now we need to draw our number line. And then we have negative 1.75 on it. So you just put that there. Notice that there's a line underneath it, so I need to make a closed bubble. And I'm talking about all the numbers that are bigger than negative 1.75. Since my alligator is eating the variable and not the number is actually the smaller. So in this symbol, yeah, anyways. Okay, shade to the right. Let's do one more. I want to do number 16. I like that one. Okay, so we need to get our y by itself. It's the only letter that we have. And we're going to, again, do opposites to get that by itself. Notice that I have an extra 9 to the left-hand side, so this is a positive 9. In order to move it to the opposite side of my inequality, I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 9 on each side. So now I have negative y over 7 is greater than 5. Now this negative, it can go on the top, the middle, or the bottom. But since I need to get rid of this 7 anyways to get my y all by itself, I'm just going to attach it to my 7. So that means that my y is getting divided by negative 7. Okay, we can think about it that way, and then I'll show you another way to think about it as well if this was confusing for you. Okay, so in order to get rid of the -7 that's getting divided by my y, I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to multiply. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So my -7 is going to cancel on the left-hand side. Notice that I multiplied each side by a negative, which means that this symbol is going to flip. My y is on the left. That's all I have remaining. And then I have 5 times -7, which is -35. Okay, so another way to think about this is that this negative is attached to the y, which is fine. Okay, so if I leave my negative attached to my y, it just means that I have an extra step. Again, totally fine. It's getting divided by my 7, so again, I want to do the opposite, which is multiply by 7. What you do on one side, you do to the other. So now I have -y is greater than 35. Here, I still have a negative in front of my y, and that's not completely solved. There's an invisible 1 hanging out with my y. So in order to get my y by itself, I would need to divide by -1 on each side because it's getting multiplied. When you divide by a negative on each side, the symbol needs to flip. You have y on the left and then -35 on the right. Notice that we got the same answer either way. It's just two different ways to think about it. So please use whatever way you like best as long as you show your work. That is fantastic. Okay, now we're going to graph this. Again, all you need is just a cute little line with your number underneath it. -35 is our important number. Notice that there is no line, so it needs to have an open dot. And I'm talking about all the numbers smaller than -35. Since my alligator is eating my -35, it is the biggest. So all my numbers smaller than -35 are going to the left, and then you have graphed your answer.